Hello, welcome back to my tutorial for the full stack developer series. In this video we will learn about the string IoC container. But first we will review the last video for a DI container that we have wrote by hand. And as you see here, I have a diagram. You can see we have too many some instance here for the repository, for the service, for the controller. And when you create a service, you need to create a department service and inject the repository into it. And when you create a controller, you need to create controller, then inject the service into it. And all this will do by the DI container, written by you. And as you can see, when you want an instance of a repository, you will call the method init department repository here. And when you want a service, you call this method init department service. And you want a controller, you call the method init controller, like this. So this code is wrote manually, and we shouldn't do that. It's not recommended, because in a real project, if you do this way, you will write too much code, too much boilerplate code, and that is not good, because you will have too much work to do, and that will slow down your development. And another thing that you will create a mistake when writing too much code, right? So we have a modern way that using the some library or framework that support the IoC or the dependency injection technique. And strings is also the framework can do that. All right, you can see here the diagram for the string IoC. It's very similar with the previous one, right? But here you can see we have another concept, another definition, another definition of the instance. We can call the instance is a bin. Okay, string call the instance as a bin. So now we use the word bin for the instance. Okay, please note that. So all the bin will be created automatically by the string IoC container, and this string IoC container is generated by string, not by yours. Okay, you don't need to write the string IoC container because it already existing in your project. All the things you do just using the configuration to create a bin and get them into your component. For example, here in your product service, you want a repository, and you don't need to call the container and call the method to create the instance or the bin of the repository. You just add an annotation named auto write here, and that the repository will automatically inject it into your product service. Okay, and if for another example, for the product controller, you want to have a service, right? You just use the auto write, and the string IoC container will do that for you. We'll create a bin with the service, with the repository inside it, and return it for you here. And for the controller, because we don't write any code that using the controller, but the controller will be in Spring, will be managed by Spring. So just add the REST controller annotation for the controller, and then the Spring will automatically inject it to where it needs a controller. Okay. All right. So now just go to the example. Just go to the Hello World Spring and do something to have more detail. All right. Can you see here we have a repository which injected by auto-write annotation here into the product service, right? And because you can see we go to the product repository, and because we define it, we configure it as a repository with the annotation repository here. If we remove it, and all right, just open your terminal and do nvm Spring Boot to run the project. And now you can see we get an error, right? You can see here, you can read on the error, and let me see. All right, and you see the error here. So, and you see the product service require a bin for the type of product repository, right? But that could not be found. So because we just removed the repository annotation here, so it will not be created, because in the Spring IoC we doesn't provide a method to create this repository. And to add that method, you need to add the annotation repository here. Okay. So that is the Spring IoC container. All right. This is just a short video to share with you more information about the IoC in Spring. And I think that's it. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.